Hey, hi everybody. My name is Ahmed Kayode Alabi, and I am an alumnus of the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship Program at the University of Edinburgh. And I'm here at TFM Story to share my experience of my scholarship and to also look through the essays as well. So I'll be looking at key questions in the essays and then sharing my thoughts about some of those questions. So these are my personal thoughts, these are my personal ideas, and they are not related to the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship Program at the University of Edinburgh. So these are just my experiences, and you might decide to pick one or two things from it, and that could help you with your essays or to develop a very good and strong essays. So I'll be looking through each questions, and I would ensure that you have a pen or paper to reflect or to just take some points or some notes as I talk about some of this question or walk you through some of this question. So now looking through the first question, so I will start with the first question basically, and this is a common question, and I think I also answered this question in 2019 when I was applying to the Scholars Program. So one of the question is reflecting on your life so far. Tell us how you meet the key selection criteria for the Scholars Program. You should include information on your academic achievements and barriers to education you have faced. So in this particular question as well, they strongly welcome application from women, refugees or displaced people, and those with disabilities. And they also want them to share the barriers that this particular group have faced in accessing education, basically. So, if you identify as this group, you have to reflect on this as you work on your answers. So now let's look at the question. So these are the questions. So the first thing I do whenever I want to answer some of this question is to look at what are the elements of the question. So one of the things you have to do is you have to answer the question. You have to understand what are the elements and break down the question into different components. So reflecting on your life so far, tell us about how you meet the key selection criteria for the Scholars Program. So when you look at the Scholars Program, what are the key criteria? So the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship Program is big on two things: the giving back principle and the community development principle. The giving back principle rather, and the community development principle, and then the transformative leadership principle. So you look at it, do I really meet this criteria? And also you're also looking at if you're talented, because it's meant for talented African young people who probably will not have the resources to do a master's degree, or to study in a place like University of Edinburgh, or to even afford higher education institutions, basically. So you look at, do you really meet this criteria? I mean, if you don't meet the criteria, you don't have to apply. So you should also include information on your academic achievements and barriers to education you have faced. So there you have to ensure that you're talking about your academic achievements, your grade, your GP, and then you're also talking about the barriers you have faced in that regard. So for example, when I was answering this particular question, I talked about my journey quickly, my story as an introduction. And that was like the challenge, that was the barrier. I was born and raised in the slum, or I've lived in 3 different slums in Nigeria. I lost my mom when I was 7, and my dad became unemployed at the same time. I also stayed out of school for a academic term, and my brother stayed out of school for a academic session. So again, those are the barriers already that I'm mentioning. So quickly I've mentioned the barriers like that, and then I said, and this inspired me to start teaching at the age of 15, and also got admitted into the university, where I competed with privileged students, and graduated as the best graduating student of my class with a 4.47 CGPA, because I had a 4.47 out of 5.0. It's good to mention, right? And I graduated with privileged students, and then I got scholarship to complete my university degree. So again, that's an example that shows this is the challenge this guy has faced. This is what he was able to create, and this is what he was able to do with his academics, right? I said additionally, I founded KLCI, where I help young people who are of my kind to develop life and 21st century skills to be able to change their circumstances and transform themselves. And this led me to be the only African to join the first class of the Peace First Fellowship in Residence, where I was supporting young people to lead social change work and also, do so and so, and got an opportunity to do this again. Yeah, so that's it. It's simple. So you need to understand the elements of the question, and you need to understand, and then you answer all of those questions, right? And you believe the next step for you, or the next stage for you, or the next level for you is to, do your master's degree, and you believe studying whatever course you've chosen, maybe African International Development will take you to that level, and then you mention maybe, your goal. So basically, that's a way to answer that particular question, basically. So now let's look at another question that's, that you'll be asked in the course of writing your essay. We want to learn about your track record as a transformative leader. Tell us about one current idea or project you're working on which clearly demonstrate this. So when you're answering this question, again, one of the methods I used to use in writing my essays is STAR approach. Situation, task, action, and result. So you're like, this is like a project. Like, tell us about your track record as a transformative leader. Tell us about one current idea or project. You want to learn about your track record rather as a transformative leader. Tell us about one current idea or project you're working on which clearly demonstrates this current idea or project you're working on. So they're asking for a current project or idea you're working on. So you might be working on numerous ideas, but I mean, this is not the time to mention everything you're doing, right? And then your essay seems clumsy, and then it's not connected. So for me, I was running my NGO, I was working with Peace First, I was involved in different other projects, but I decided to choose my Peace First project because I feel like, Peace First, I've demonstrated like larger impact in Peace First through my work as a regional manager. So again, use that approach and don't just come up with an answer. Reflect, go think which story relates with the course you're doing the most. So it's very important to see, like, does this align with the course? Because people who are reading your essays want to find the connections in your essays. And if there's no connection in your essays, then you lose the points or you lose the mark. So to answer this question, what is the situation? So let me give you an example. So for example, I could say, maybe my work at KLCI, right? Cardiology Management Crime, which my NGO. I could say that we have a project called Ski to Rural Bootcamp, and I could talk about the project as my current project that learning shortfalls during the school years end up showing up as a weak skill for the workforce. World Bank 2018. From engaging over 3,000 students in rural community, only 1 out of 10 students have the knowledge, skills, and education to change their circumstances. How would they be able to, get good jobs in the future if they don't have the skills and education? And this prompted me to start Ski to Rural Bootcamp, where, children in rural communities come together to co-create solutions and prototypes to the problem that they are facing within their community. Or Ski to Rural Bootcamp is a 2 to 5 days bootcamp where children in rural communities come together, co-create solutions to their own problems and challenges, hence developing 21st century skills along the line. I also developed a mentoring program where after the bootcamp, they get to continue to learn and educate themselves and continue to deepen their knowledge on so. Over 50 prototypes or 73 prototypes have been created from the bootcamp addressing social issues within their communities. So, different things, and so you could mention, I could mention some of the prototype, and I could say 90% of the young people who have been through the bootcamp see themselves as problem solvers, and they also have developed the skills to be able to transform their communities and society, and then have the education to get good jobs in the future. One of our success stories is Rejoice Otitoloju, who at the age of 15 created Say No to Get Child Abuse Initiative to educate blah 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 in her community, and she also got a scholarship to do this and this and this. Because I understand that it's not easy skills are not enough, there's a need to provide further opportunities. I created a scholarship scheme where some of these children are able to transition from secondary education to higher education. Life starting point is a lottery, but the future of children in underserved and rural communities shouldn't be left to chance. Done. Simple. Star. You could see the situation, you could see the task, you could see the action and results in my essay. So what's the situation? the statistics I gave. So your situation could be a statistic, it could be a story, it could be a key quote. For example, what I started with, like learning shots for could serve as a weak skill for the workforce, could become a weak skill for the workforce. World Bank said that from engaging with 3,000 students. So the ability to also use numbers. I found out that 1 out of 10 young people have the skills, education, and opportunity to change their circumstances. And then you go to the task. So this made me to create Skill to Rap boot camp, a 2 to 5 days boot camp where, so and so. And what did you do at the boot camp? They go through sessions as this, they go through this, they go through that, and then you start talking about the action. And then what are the results? The success stories and all of those things. Then you're done. So I don't know if this is helpful, but this is how I would have approached the question. So look at the particular project that aligns with what you want to do. And because again I was targeting African international development, I believe that those stories kind of like align with African international development. Like it is an interdisciplinary course, and then anything goes or anything connects basically, so far as related to the continent. So now the third question is, we aim to award MasterCard Foundation scholarships to individuals who will benefit most from the opportunity. How would being a MasterCard Foundation scholar support your development personally and professionally? So there are like different ways to answer this particular question. So they are like, want to award to individuals who will most benefit from the opportunities. That is, you don't have the resources, but you're talented, you've done good work, and you're pushing your community, and you believe that the MasterCard Foundation scholarship is what will take you to the next level, basically. So how would being a MasterCard Foundation scholar support your development personally and professionally? So when you're talking about personally, so for me, in my case, I would match personally and professionally together, because my professional journey is quite aligned with my personal journey, because that's my lab experience basically. And my personal journey is quite professional as well. So like that would be the way I would answer the question. I would be like, that's me, but for some people you could divide like, personally this is how it will help you. Just go straight to the point. In any of these questions, don't beat around the bush. I know some people will be like, oh, I was doing this, I was doing that, I fetch water, my mother was sick, I had to, you don't need all those things in your essays. Just go straight to the point. Like, answer the question, make sure you're answering the question. So you need to again define the question, reflect on the question, and think about your answers. So how would the MasterCard Foundation scholar support your development? So you'll be like, being somebody who was raised in the slum. One of the things that I've seen engaging children in rural communities is how they don't have access to opportunities, and you believe that getting this MasterCard Foundation scholarship would not only benefit you as an individual, would not only change you and create upward mobility in your life, where you get to now, because of the MasterCard Foundation scholarship, you've gotten the credibility to become an inspiration within your community, right? And other people now see you as an inspiration, and they're aspiring for greater things within your community. And that also creates a pathway to be able to create change within your community, because people now know that you've gotten a MasterCard Foundation scholarship, you've studied in a place like University of Edinburgh, right? I could recall saying this in my interview. I remember in my interview, I actually said this, basically, that how the foundation would give me like a kind of credibility to do good work in my community, basically. And how it changes your circumstances and within your family, and how that becomes an inspiration for your siblings. Even being the first, you could say, even if you're the first person to like access kind of opportunities, what does it do for your siblings as well? How does it change the mobility for you as an individual? And how does it create a pathway for you to be able to access greater jobs? And you could even say, because the MasterCard Foundation scholarship is also, you could even say that the MasterCard Foundation scholarship is values the individual, right? You could say that values the individual and connect them to an opportunity that could help them change their circumstances. For example, through the MasterCard Foundation transformative leadership program, they connect you with mentors who kind of like help you and provide support to you and help you, transition into a bigger career path, or into, a career path that could also help you deepen the work you're doing, and how that creates, social mobility, increase in social mobility for you and, for your family, and professionally. The MasterCard Foundation Scholarship offers, opportunities. For example, in your NGO, you've been thinking of, scaling and deepening your work, and through the MasterCard Enterprise Program, you're looking to receive support to deepen the work you're doing and to scale the work you're doing in your community. And also through the Master's Program, you're looking forward to build research knowledge that kind of shape policy issues within your communities, and as well as the Baobab Summit. So Baobab Summit is one of the summits that happens every year, and a few MasterCard scholars get to attend the Baobab Summit. And what does that do to you? Have access to network, have access to, alumni, have access to top people, right? And then you could even talk about lecturers as well, that you even look forward to connect with social lecturers, professor, so research, don't be a lazy applicant, go on and research, and how those lecturers, you connect with them, and how they would, help you. For example, I could recall in my essay, I said I long to connect with Dr. Barbara Bompani, right? And I did meet her when I started my master. I even took a course, and then we had the opportunity to later work together. So, you could mention how you hope to work with them to deepen your knowledge about a particular issue. So you're already looking at what are the issues you're looking for to study. So for example, then I could recall saying that I'm looking forward to leverage the power of young people to create social change, and Dr. Barbara has worked in this area, and I look forward to work with her to facilitate, research projects that, So you need to understand how that would help you professionally. You need to also look at what are the volunteering opportunities within the university. What organizations can you work with within the universities? What internship do they offer? And how does that create a pathway for you or add it to your work experience? Also, you need to look at the placement-based dissertation. So you can't write all of these things because I've said many things. So don't start writing all of these things because it's 250 words, obviously. So you need to pick which one is relevant to you, basically, and which one you can really talk about, and how that would help you professionally in terms of, it could be in terms of your career progression, it could be in terms of, deepening the work you're doing already in your community, basically. And if you've not done anything, it could be what you're looking for to continue to do, right? Or you want to, so that's where I will look at the question, basically. So research what the programs offers, research, what opportunities it offers and does offers, basically. So the next question is, we would like to find out more about your interest in further academic study. Please explain how the degree program you have chosen to study here relate to your future goals. What specifically about this course will be useful for you? If you're choosing an online degree program, please reflect on how you manage your part-time study with other commitments. So this particular question, again, elements of the question, what are they asking? We would like to find out more about your interest in further academic study. Why are you interested in further academic study? That's the first thing, So understand the why of each question. You need to understand, why are they asking this question? Literally, you're just thinking like a psychologist and trying to answer each question and trying to break down each question to understand them. Please explain how the degree program you have chosen to study here relates to your future goals. So now you are thinking about, what do I hope to do in my future? What are my short-term career plan? What are my long-term career plan when I'm done with my program? And how does that align with the course? What specifically about this course will be useful for you? So you're looking at, what are the things that I think I will learn from this course specifically? Briefly in 250 words. And then I'll come to the online part of it. So now, we would like to find out more about your interest in further academic study. So in this case, for me, was statistics. I'm from engaging over 5,000 young people, I notice young people have ideas, bringing ideas, but often they are not heard and they are not taken seriously, and I believe that young people have the power and potential to create social change, and I'm really looking forward to put young people at the center of the development process. And that is why I want to study, African international development, where I get to learn about domestic resource mobilization, how the politics of development, and how young people can be at the center of that debate. So I've spoken about my why of that course, and why I want to engage in that particular course. So again, and again briefly, I've talked about the degree program, the goals of the degree program. Like, this is why I want to do Africa International Development, where I get to learn about so and so, and in this regard, this will lead to my short-term goal. Like, once I'm done with the master's program, once I have the right knowledge and processes, on the short term, I hope to continue my work as a regional manager with Peace First, where I get to lead remarkable social change in Sub-Saharan Africa, and I get to raise significant amount of resources to put money into the hands of young people to create social change. And on the longer term, I hope to work with UNESCO to discuss policy, debates, blah 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 blah. You could also say you look to work with the office of the president, or office of the president on youth engagement, where you get to or you could say you could work with African Union. So what's your long-term goal, and what do you hope to do with your long-term goal? Like, for example, actually, I might not have gone back to Peace First, but I'm a board member there, so I'm still working, in a way to promote the work, put resources into the hands of young people. And even through my NGO, I'm still working in that area. Like, I'm still putting money into the hands of young people, to create social change. Like, I'm putting money into the hands of teachers and training to create solutions in education. So those things are not things you're just writing for fun. It's things that you've imagined yourself that you're going to do in the future, and then you write them down. Like, I don't write things that I don't get to do. Most of the applications that I have done, I write things and I end up doing them. So you need to reflect on what's your future plan, what's your future goal, what do you hope to do in the next 5 years. You could even say, for the first 5 years, this is what I plan to do, and a long term, this is what I plan to do. Be specific, smart, situation, smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound, right? When you're talking about the goals, so tie all of these things together. If you're choosing an online program, please reflect on how you manage your part-time study with other commitments. So for the online program, if you're applying for the online program, you could talk about how I've been able to do MOOC courses, massive online open courses, and how you've been able to work while juggling the two, and how you're able to replicate that during the course of the program. Or you could even talk about how you've been able to do your work and then take other development courses to continue to grow in your work and grow in your job, and how that part is part of your job. Like, you don't see it as something that will hinder you, but you see it as something that would help you progress, basically, and you've created time for that, and you have a good relationship with your managers, or they're aware that you're doing this, and you've done this before. So if you have an example of how you've done it before, it's good to mention that. So I'll be stopping here, and I'll be taking you through the other questions in the next video, and I hope you click the subscribe button, and see you soon. Thank you.